We are turning this Ford Transit into a mobile dog grooming van. Where the heck did I put that? First, we gotta take out all of the protective packaging so we can see what we're working with underneath. So I got all these screws out and the screws down there, but there are more little screws under these little caps, so I just been using, I couldn't find anything that fit in there other than this little pocket knife. Does gouge out the plastic a little bit, but I don't know if I'm gonna be using this again anyway. I don't know if it's gonna fit with my floor, so I'm not super worried about it. If you're planning on putting it back on though, you might want to use like a tiny screwdriver or something. Underneath of them, they're just little 1/4-inch hex screws. They're not as long as the top ones. I got the little caps off these. These are a different size than the back ones. These are like a 5, I think 5.5 is what fits on them. And I only have one of those, so luckily I had that set. Next, I'm taking down all the wall protection. I need to see what's going on underneath of there so I know what I need to Rust-Oleum, and I need to insulate underneath of it, so all of it has to come down either way. Compared to how wet and rusted parts of the floor were when I pulled the mat up, I'm really pleased with how good the walls are looking underneath of all of this stuff. So I got this little multi-tool that I'm using. I got it for Christmas from one of my aunts, and it's like the perfect size for this. So I'm just sliding it in there, maybe pulling it out, pulling this out. And I'm trying to save as many as I can in case I'm going to put these back up. I'm not 100% sure yet, but this thing works a lot faster than the screwdriver and the little putty knife that I was trying. You can kind of see better here compared to the floor. Not too shabby. Here I'm just trying to blow out and sweep out any of the really loose, big dirt chunks just so I could be sure what was actually rust and what was just dirt. The protective flooring was put down over screw holes that hadn't been filled, so everything underneath the floor was soaked and muddy and nasty, and it caused all the screw holes to rust because they were just staying wet all the time. So I went around and sanded all of the rust spots that I could see so that I could get everything cleaned up and put the rust prevention over all the screw holes before I filled them. I got that sanding wheel for like $12 at Advanced Auto. You just pop it in your drill and it made everything go a lot faster and a lot easier. Before I start treating my sanded spots, I'm just trying to get a good mop in. Just trying to get all the excess mud and dirt and anything that I missed with the broom off so that I can get a good seal on everything. Then I'm going to go through with my blower one more time just to triple check that I got everything off. I got this Pour 15 rust stop kit from Advanced Automotive. It says you don't have to get all the rust off. It just says you have to like wire brush off the loose bits. But I sanded off all the rust that I could see just because with how high of a humidity level it's going to be in here once we're working. I didn't want to take any chances, so I did sand the rust off, and then I use this stuff. So first step is you have to like clean it with a degreaser. You're supposed to leave it sit 10 to 15 minutes, but it's supposed to stay wet. You're not supposed to let it dry for either of the degreaser or the metal prep. So then you just wipe them up, clean them up with water, and then after that you spray on the metal prep, and then after that you paint on this stuff. It is black, but I am putting a subfloor over it, so I don't really care. I did skid it on my shoe somehow, so there's little footprints of it on the floor, which I also don't really care about because there is going to be a subfloor going over it. But I wanted to make sure I got all the rust off, and I still use this stuff just because for the walls I'll probably use the Rust-Oleum. But with it being in the floor and the holes in the floor, I don't know if I got all the rust from the holes and from underneath the holes, so I didn't want to take any chances with that. So I used that stuff, and then I'm just waiting for it to dry, and I will come back over with a second coat, and then I will be ready to actually do some work for the subfloor. And wear mask, for all the steps. I wore it for sanding the rust, I wore it for the degreaser, the primer, and definitely the paint, but it's all super strong. And it says to wear a mask, and I am not fucking around with that. These are all the sanded down rust spots I went over with one coat, and then once everything dries, then I'll go over it again with a second coat. I got the foreman on site today. He's not looking happy. Day 2, we're filling holes with this shit. I hate this stuff. If you have too many holes, then it dries on your gloves after a while, and then everything's just sticking and your gloves are coming off, and it's a pain in the butt. But this one does not have as many holes as the last van I did, so hopefully that will help, and this is the easiest option out of everything I have tried with our other van to fill the little screw holes on the floor. So it just comes in this. You cut little pieces off at a time, and you just shove them over the hole, and it works pretty good. It's just really annoying. I just boop it on and shove it in and around the hole. Foreman is over this job today. Now we have the floor cleaned, prepped, ready to go. Once everything dries, I'll be able to get started on the subfloor.